Hey, welcome to Living the Dream with MS. It's cold and rainy out and my bones are hurting, so that made me think of today's video. Today's video is entitled The Medicine That's Killing Us. When I first got diagnosed with MS, I was diagnosed with what they call relapsing remitting MS. Relapsing remitting MS, instead of being constant, is exactly what it sounds like. You have attacks or what we call flare-ups, where symptoms will kick up and be debilitating for a period of time and then they go away. The only arrow in the quiver of the doctors when it comes to relapsing remitting MS and dealing with flare-ups is steroids. In most cases, a 5-day course of IV Solumedrol. What that does is it goes in and basically wipes out your immune system, therefore wiping out the flare-up, because MS being autoimmune is your immune system attacking your nervous system. So it works. It's very effective. However, the consequences, which a lot of doctors don't share with you, are quite heavy. The first time I had Solumedrol, I immediately got thrush, jock itch, and athlete's foot. Gross. Why? So I went to the doctor to find out. Basically, what he said was that I have a very high natural level of yeast in my body, and as soon as my immune system was knocked out, the yeast flourished and grew and almost turns into infections, and that's what causes those 3 items. Great. Those are minor. Heartburn's another one. Again, you're putting poison into your body. I would wake up in the middle of the night with god-awful, horrible heartburn coming right up my throat. Just was really bad. So, all of my preventative stuff, I'd have to take Zantac, prescription Zantac every day, a banana, orange juice, all these things. What I didn't realize with the banana and the orange juice was he was giving me potassium, because this wasn't shared with me until much later. 5 or 6 years into the process, I started having bad pain in my hip. Actually in my groin, which I didn't know was my hip. And so I went, and he didn't know what it was, the neurologist. So then I went to an orthopod, and through an MRI and through x-rays, we realized that I had avascular necrosis. What's avascular necrosis? Well, necrosis means death. Vascular means blood supply. So avascular necrosis is a death of bone due to a lack of blood supply. That is caused by overuse of steroids. That's what the steroids do to the body. So the particular bone that was dead was the head of my femur, the ball of the ball and socket joint in the hip. So I had a couple of different minor surgeries to try and stimulate bone growth, but they all failed, and ultimately I had to have a right total hip replacement at the age of, I think, 34. So when these doctors use this steroid treatment so liberally, and they're not doing a great job of explaining it, people don't realize that what they're exposing their body to. So now, as I deal with secondary progressive MS, when I had my speech issue, which prompted my first video, the first time I had my speech issue, the doctor said, well, to get through it, we can give you steroids. No, not doing it. I know what that's doing, and basically all it's doing is bringing my speech back faster, but it's not fixing anything. It's not curing anything. When my hips were looked at, my left hip looked as bad as my right hip, but it's not causing me any pain. So I haven't had to have that one done yet, but I will. So that is something that we with MS have to go through, and it's something that, especially for you if you're newly diagnosed, bring it up. Do the cost-benefit analysis, so to speak, of how bad is this that I'm going through, that I'm going to bring this poison into my body, and how much this poison am I going to do, and what's it going to cost me long term. So I just wanted to share that story, being that I'm feeling the weather a little bit, but more importantly, so that, number one, people can know what I went through, but so that they can be aware of the potential hazards of this very, very commonly and heavily used solution. That's it for today. I am going to keep living the dream with MS.